is Tamar, and this is the first tutorial on my new channel. I'm pretty excited about this. I just woke up, saw that it got 50 likes, and decided I'll make a tutorial now. So yeah, programs you're gonna need is Cinema 4D, R13 to 16. I'm sure will work for this, and Adobe After Effects CC 2014 or 2015, maybe even 2013. Actually, I'm not sure about that. I think just CC 2014 or 2015. Anyways, let's get into this. The first thing that you're going to see when you open up Cinema 4D is this blank space here. Now, I'm just going to assume that you know a little bit about Cinema 4D. If not, I'm sure you could follow along, but yeah. So up here in the top you have your move controls. You can zoom in and out, you can pan, you can rotate around an object. I'm gonna pan that back in there, or you can middle click and you can see all of these views. So this is the front, this is top, this is the right. And you can also click on which one you want. So you click on this one to get back in here, or you click in this one. Pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, so we're just going to get into this. The first thing that you're going to need is go to MoGraph, and you're going to want to take MoText, and you're going to want to set align to middle. Oops, did not mean to do that. You want to set the depth to 70, and I'm just gonna name this tutorial. I don't know. That might be too long. I'm just gonna name it. Yeah, I'll just name it tutorial, and you can pick whatever font you want. I'll list off some good ones. Rainfall, good font. Primetime, good font. Nova Solid. Sigma 5 is pretty cool. Duncan Bold is pretty good as well if you want to make stuff like that. Doc 11 is pretty nice. And the last one is Makito Ultra. It's pretty nice. For this, I think I'm just going to use Doc 11. I think that's going to look nice. But yeah, so you create your MoText, and you set the depth to 70. Now, in this tab, I want you to go to Caps, Start, put in 2 fillet caps. Make sure they're fillet caps and not just fillets. Because, say, if the back one is just a fillet, you go in the back and it'll be empty. So, you want to make sure that's a fillet cap. And then you want to set the steps to 10. Oops. Steps to 10. And then you want to set the radius to 2. And then you want to click on the MoText in this Objects tab up here, and you want to Control C, Control V. And that'll just copy and paste, so now you have 2 MoTexts. And this is how we're going to get the second layer, for like the second color. So you're going to want to take the second MoText, and you want to just take the radius and turn that back to 5. And this to 12. And then you want to go back to your Object tab on the second MoText, on the MoText with your steps 12 and 5, so to 2, and you want to go to Object and change the depth to 30, 35, maybe even 40. You can do whatever you want. I'm going to try 30. I'm going to try 35 for this one. I don't know why I keep making fart noises every time I decide I can't talk, but it's early, guys. Don't make fun of me. I know Sam will, though. Yeah, so you now, okay, that might have been a little confusing. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to go, click on your second MoText, you want to go out, and you want to go to the right view, and you want to go in here and you want to move this to the center of your text. So something that looks centered, Maybe a little bit, there we go. That looks centered. And now that's in the center of your text, it should look something like this. Yay, so now you have created text, but you're not done yet. You need to highlight both of your motexts, and you want to right click or group objects down here, or I'm pretty sure you can Control G, Shift G, no idea. There's a shortcut, I don't know, I can't remember it. Okay, it says at the bottom, Alt G. So you want to highlight these, and you want to go Alt G, or you could right click and group objects. But this will give you a null, and this is basically a folder for an object. So when you move around the folder, you move around the object that's in the folder. So you want to rename this folder. I'm just going to rename it. Oh my god, I can't talk, can I? Alright, I'm going to rename it text. And you want to click this thing on the side. This is enable axes. You can click L to do that. I never use that. L. I'm never going to remember that. But you want to take your move tool, so this one, and you want to click enable axes, and you want to move this to the center of your text. And you can hold down shift, so it'll do it in increments of 10. That'll get you pretty much right to the middle if you go into these views, which will be very helpful. Yeah, you can make it go into the middle. And here, you want to make that go into the middle of the text again. Alright. Alright. So that looks in the middle of the text. And what you want to do is you want to enable, well, you want to click it again so it doesn't move around. So when you rotate or something, it's from the middle of the text and not like the front and bottom. But yeah, so whenever you rotate text, you don't want to highlight your motext and rotate, because then that'll happen. You want to take the null that you made and rotate that. So the next part is adding a Lightroom. This is going to be a shameless plug. I would recommend the Tomar Lightroom V2. Okay. Sorry about that. Had a whisper. I have a sore throat. But yeah, I'm just going to be using my my Lightroom V2. I don't know what color. I'll just make this blue. I'll make it a blue one. And I'll make it the metal. The metal one texture is pretty messed up, but that's okay. It's a Lightroom. It's not supposed to come with amazing materials. I will be making a material pack, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if you guys really want that bad, but yeah, I think I'm just gonna be using this Lightroom. I'll use this texture. This one's pretty cool. So all you want to do is just drag the materials onto which one you want. Top one is this. I would recommend putting the metal in the front, and then the blue in the back. So, to make your, I just did something there. To make your materials look really nice is you want to highlight your two materials, and you want to, it'll be like this at first, and you want to click seamless, and projection, set it to cubic. And that will make your materials look a whole lot better. I think that material looks pretty cool, actually. Do I have the wrong render settings? Maybe I do. Whatever, it's fine. Okay, now you want to create a camera to move around your text. So first thing you're gonna want to do is go to the freehand, draw freehand spline. Hold down click, because you don't actually want to draw a freehand spline. You want to hold down and then drag and go to circle and then release. And that'll create a circle. Now you have a circle and you want to center it. So what you're going to do with your text is you're gonna go to the positions down here, and if it's centered, you could just go 0, 0, apply, and it should be in the center of your circle, which is pretty cool. My Lightroom can stay there, actually. You know what? I'm gonna move my Lightroom down a little bit. I really don't think it matters at all, to be honest, where my Lightroom is, as long as it's centered, I guess. I don't know what I think about this metal material. Not for this intro. Another one. No. Brick. I suck. Okay. Here we go. Better. So now that you have your materials and your circle, what you want to do is you want to go to camera. You want to hold down. You want to create a target camera and delete the camera target. Unless you don't want to. Just kidding. Delete it. Delete that crap. Now, for render settings, you want to just set this to 1920 by 1080. Output, I always set frame rate to 60 FPS, however that will double your render time, so I don't know if you want that, but yeah, I'm just gonna use my Lightroom settings. I don't know if these are fast or not. Yeah, okay. Right, so now that you have your render settings in place, you want to, I don't know why this isn't turning into a small tab. You want to go, and you want to go to, oh, that's why. So you want to make sure output is 1920, and the height is 1080. Frame rate, I'm going to make this 60. Frame range, you want to make sure this is on all frames so it renders out the entire thing. If you don't have seconds at the bottom and it's in frames, so it'd be 90 frames, you want to set that to 300 frames. That'll be the equivalent of 10 seconds. If you want to change it to seconds, you can go to Edit, Preferences, go to Timeline, Spline, and Gadget, I think. You know what, I'm actually not sure. Navigation, I think it was in. No? Okay, yeah. It's in units. So you want to go to units, and animation unit, it'll probably be on frames. See it at 300 frames. You want to change that to seconds. It just makes your life a lot easier. But yeah, back to this. Film aspect, you can leave that alone. Save, you want to have alpha channel checked, and you want to have save, include 3D data. You just want to have all of these checked. Actually, I don't think you need that. So you wanna, yeah, that's good. And then you can just have your normal render settings. Now I'm just gonna save it to make sure I don't lose it. Just gonna name it tutorial 2. And yeah, so now we can get on to camera movement. Okay, whatever. Color correction could be on. I don't know why that line is there. That's dumb. It's a dumb line. That shouldn't be there. I'll use this metal. This one looks good. Most of them look okay. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a lot better. Actually, I really like that. Yeah. Alright, so now you want to do your camera movement. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our camera and drag it as a child of the circle. So it'll be like this. You drag it onto the circle. And it'll be underneath the circle. So now, if you go into camera view, which you should be already by clicking on this thing, you want to set your camera so you're in the middle. You just want to set camera rotation 0, 0, 0, 0, and 0, and apply it. And then you just want to zoom out. And there you go. So now, you're not going to move your camera, you're actually going to move your circle. So the way to get Cinema 4 desync, which I already made a tutorial about that on my old channel, link it will be in the description if you want to go check that out. I might do a new one, but what you want to do is you want to go to Mode Graph, Effector. Well, actually, you know what? I guess I could just show you in here. You want to make a sound effector, and you want to select a sound file. Now, the sound file, it can be MP3. It doesn't have to be WAV or WAV, but it does have to be 16-bit. So if you're cutting it in Sony Vegas, which I do now because mp3cut.net does no longer work for R15, R14, it still works, R13, it still works. But if you have R15 or higher, I think, you have to use 16-bit audio, which sucks. So I'm actually just going to go into my songs folder. If people ask where I get all my songs, I don't know, I just find them on the internet somewhere. Okay, so let's just search .wav because it's the only one I can use for this. And I don't know. I guess we could use JHardway Bootcamp. Okay, so now that we have that in here, when I play this through, you can hear the music. So, that sounds good. So, I want to first find out where the beat drops. I'm gonna say it drops at 60, which is where I'm gonna do it. So now, you want to click on your circle, go to the rotate tool, and actually I'm gonna do some secret stuff to my camera here. Okay. Object. Alright, so now what you're going to do is you're going to go to your camera, or your circle, and you want to click the rotation tool, and you can go to 0, and you want to keyframe your starting point. Why isn't that? Oh, I have enable access on. Durr. Make sure you don't have enable access on or else it won't turn. Also, what? Why does that not look right? Is it just... Okay, wait. I need to set all this to 0 again. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. So, it should look like this if you followed along. I do just want to check something real quick. I'm kind of confused about that. Okay, no, it's fine. It's just my FOV. So, what you want to do is you want to go to the circle, click the rotate tool, and you want to set up your bass drop point. So if I go to 60, which is where I want it to start, so if I play that, or to end at least. Frick, I still have enable access on. So you're going to want to set it to a point, so I'm going to say about there, looks good. Want to keyframe, you want to go to 10 frames ahead, and you can set your second frame. I'm going to make it go, you want to make it rotate in the same direction, so I'm just going to make it go 90 degrees that way, maybe a little bit that way. Keyframe that, you want to go to 0, spin it, I'm going to spin it more, I'm going to have it facing almost the back. So that looks good. Or actually, I'm going to move it a few frames forward. Looks good. So, now you want to go to, I don't know, something, a second part. You always want to have something in your intro, so like a second rotation, or like a second rotation of your text. unless you're doing like a modeling intro or like a super chill style, you are going to want something else to happen in your Cinema 4D, or else it's just going to look a little bland. So, I'm going to go to the second part of this. That's where it is. So it's about here. So I'm going to start a few frames forward. I'm going to go like rotate like this and move it forward a little bit. On the way there, it doesn't look Where is it? So I'm gonna rotate it this way really fast and make it look this way. So in a few frames. In a few frames. Did I even say that? I can't tell. I have headphones on. I think that's a little too early. Move it back. Yeah, that looks better. So now, what we're going to want to do is, now that you have your keyframe set up, you can't just do that. A lot of people will do that in Cinema 4D Sync. They won't spin their text at all. It'll just look in different directions. Be like that as a Cinema 4D Sync. No, that looks, I'll be honest, it looks really bad. You can't just look from side to side and say it's a Cinema 4D Sync. Like, it'll just like cut to different angles. No, that looks really bad. So you want to at least, well, not at least, you do. You want to put in a text rotation just to make it look like it has a purpose. Because if it just spins like that and I spun it back really fast, it would just look like it had no purpose. So to give it a purpose, you want to go to where it started, so your first keyframe. You want to click on that null that you made. This is where it's coming in handy. And you're going to want to go, actually, you know what? You're going to want to go to your first frame. And you're going to want to set it up however you want. I'm going to set it up about here. And I'm going to go to the second frame, which is here, and then I want to rotate, whoops, want to rotate my text a little bit, and then I want to go to 10 frames forward, and go like this. I'm actually going to rotate that back more. No, can I get the rotate that back more? I'm going to rotate this back more, so that when it's, it looks a lot better. Do that like that. And this is another good thing to make your keyframes, or your text keyframes look nice, is when you do a rotation, the full rotation, I probably do it about like this. And then when I get to the second part of my intro, so when it spins, I'll make sure that the text is like this, and then I'm going to go to the the final part of the Cinema 4D Sync camera movement. I'm going to want to move it forward, but again, not too much, so maybe like that would look good. So if I play it back, do that actually. Oh, I changed the text movement, not the camera movement. Yeah, that looks better. So now you want to go to, I don't know, I always end it off at like 260, so yeah, 260. So now at the end of an intro, I always keyframe it so it's kind of like straight up again. And then at the last frame, I keyframe it so it's facing the other way. Now you want to just do your camera movements. So again, I'm going to go to 260 and rotates this way. So I'm going to go to 260. I'm going to rotate it this way, and it's going to move this way. And and then I'm going to rotate it the other way. I'm going to move it that way, like that. Okay, that looks bad with the rotation. I'm going to move it that way. That also looks bad. Okay. Right, I just deleted my camera, or my circle. Don't do that. You wanna... There we go. That looks good. That looks good. Just play it back. Doesn't look bad per se, but it's not the best yet. So what you're gonna want to do is you want to click on your camera, and on the first frame, you could start in and then zoom out and then back in. You could start in, go a little bit further out, and then zoom out a bunch. I'm gonna start zoomed out a bunch, and then I'm gonna go to 46, zoom in a little bit more, and go to 56, and zoom in a bunch. So it looks like this. So now on the rotation, you also want to make the distance from the camera of the text change. So I'm going to make it zoom out. 260, I'm going to keyframe that again, just to make sure it stays. Go to the final keyframe, and I'm going to zoom in. A pretty good looking intro. There is one secret that I don't know if a lot of people learn. Shout out to Jordan for teaching me this one, but you want to highlight all of your keyframes, and when you do that, this should come up, the value key. You should see this option called clamp, and you want to uncheck that. So you want to unclamp your objects. Uncheck. So that's for all the keyframes. You want to highlight these ones, make sure they're unclamped. Highlight these, make sure they're unclamped. And you want to do that for everything. So you want to do that to the text. And you want to do that to your circle. Now, clamping basically restricts the F-curve. And if you don't know what an F-curve is, don't worry about it. But it restricts like the movement to exactly what you keyframe it. Give it a more organic feel. So if I play it back now, I kind of like it if there's a little more rotation, and this was like more like this. That looks good. So now that you have your Cinema 4D, what you want to do is you always want to Control S, save, and you want to go to your render settings, and you want to click on this down here, so compositing project file, and you want to save project file, and you want to save it in a new folder that you're going to make. So you want to go to the folder that you keep your renders in, or you can just do it on your desktop. I don't know, pretty unorganized if you do that. But you want to create a new folder, and you want to name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name this tutorial 2. And I'm going to save it inside of that folder. Could not say it. Please enable output paths. Okay, that makes sense. So you want to, before you do that, you want to go to File, and you want to click this, and then you want to save it as, I don't know, tutorial render. Save it, and then you want to save the project file to the same spot, tutorial 2, and save it. Okay, perfect. So now that you have all of that in order, all you have to do is click this button in the middle, and this will render it out to the folder that you saved it to with your render settings. So now you have this. Now, if this ever disappears or you want to make it disappear from here, you can shift F6 and it'll make a new one. So if you see, like, it'll disappear like that. It didn't cancel. You shift F6 and it's back. So yeah, now it's just rendering out the picture. It shouldn't the frames. It shouldn't take too long. If you set your frame rate to 30 FPS, it'll only render out 300 frames because you only need 300 frames. If you render 60 FPS, then it'll render 600 frames. Okay, so that was it for Cinema 4D. Next we'll be doing After Effects, so I will get back to you guys when this is done rendering. Alright, so now that you guys have finished rendering, you want to open up After Effects, CC 2014, and you want to go to C4D, or wherever you saved your file, open up the folder, and you should see all of these pictures. I accidentally saved them as .tif, I have no idea why. Normally I save them as PNG, but I don't know, whatever. Doesn't really matter that much. But what you want to do is you want to grab one of the two AEC files. I don't know why mine gives me two, but this is what you saved, and this is important because this will give you the camera in Cinema 4D. So you want to take one of them and drag them into Project, and then you want to click on this drop down, double click on this composition here, so not the pictures but this. You want to double click on that and you should have something like this. And now this is your render. If you click this will RAM preview, which basically just lets it so that you can play it smooth. I'm pretty sure it's mandatory actually, so you have to click it. If you click play, I don't think there's going to be any sound when you play it, but you know. So if you're at 30 FPS, you want to set this frame rate to 30, or if you're at 60, you want to set it to 60, obviously. And you also want to open up where your cut song was, or you can use a full song. I just like to use the same cut song, and then drag it into here. Now that you have your your cut song, you want to drag it into the composition, and when you click on the RAM preview, when it's done and it plays through, you should hear it. So the first thing I normally do is I go New, Solid, so I right click in this empty space down here, and I click New, Solid, and I rename that BG for background. And this is really important. If you don't have a background, when you do your color correction, it's going to look really messed up. So make sure you have your background below the text. And this is the text right here. So if I put it above, you can't see it. If I put it below. And second thing I like to do is I like to click on my song, click the drop down, go to Audio, Waveform, and I want to go set it to -48, keyframe that, click that thing to keyframe, move forward about 130, and then set this to 0, and that'll automatically keyframe, so you can see that the decibels go from -48 to 0. So yeah. Then you want to go to I don't know, probably when it starts going away, so like right there, I don't know, maybe a little earlier, maybe like there. Keyframe it by clicking this thing right here, like this little diamond in between these. And then you want to go to the end and set it to -48 again. And this is going to be your main process for creating things in After Effects, is keyframing. So you want to get used to the idea of how it works, and after you get used to it, you should be able to figure out how to do everything. So now that you hear that, it fades in and out. If you want to make it so that the song's a little less quiet, you could set this instead of 0. You could do like -2, or if you want to make it louder, you can make it like it doesn't really matter. So now that we have this, normally the first thing I do is I put in sync. Now, a lot of people, what they'll do for fast songs is they'll just hold down Control to let you hear it. So you can hold Control or just keyframe it like that. I do the really bad way, but I don't know. Apparently I have a good ear, and I can actually, I don't know, I do this successfully. You might not want to do this, but normally what I do is I just slow it down to 30 FPS if it's 60 FPS intro, or I slow it down to 50 if it's a 30 FPS, or 15 if it's a 30 FPS intro. So if you slow it down to 30 FPS, you can hear it's slowed down. So what I do is I actually add markers so I know where to put the keyframes. And to do that, I got a lot of confusion on my first tutorial, is the star button, the asterisk. So if you were to hold Shift and 8, that's what it would be. But you don't want to hold Shift 8, alright? You do not want to do that. You want the number pad. If you don't know what a number pad is, it's that thing to the right of your arrow keys, and you should see at the bottom 0, delete, and then a long one that says enter, and then the number pad should go from left to right, and then to the bottom should go 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. So yeah, above 9 you'll see that little asterisk button, and that's what you want to press, not Shift 8. Shift 8 will just stop it, I think. Actually, I can test that out. Yeah, it just stops it. So yeah, number pad, make sure number pad. So as I play through, if I make sure, actually, one thing that you want to do is you want to make sure you have something selected. So if you don't have anything selected and you hit a keyframe, it'll be up here, and when I hit K, it won't do anything. It'll just go to the end. And if you have this selected and then you set a marker and then you go here and you press K, it'll go to that marker. And you'll see why that'll be useful in a minute. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and sync to this. You can do it either way you want. You can hold down Control, and when you hear a beat, you can set a marker, or you can play through it, and you can then set a marker like that. So yeah, do it however you want, but I will be back when I'm finished doing the syncing for this. Okay, and I am done syncing. So now you can see I have these markers here. Actually, let me play through this. Oh, also, if you want to do it from where this starts right here, you can click from current time, and when you start there. So I'm actually going to delete that marker. If something doesn't look right, then you can always fix it by removing markers. Okay, so that looks about good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click again in this empty space. I'm going to make a new adjustment layer, make sure that's above the text, and I'm going to rename it. I'm just going to rename it to transform. It's a good idea, really good idea to rename things just so it's not crazy, and if you want to change something you don't have to go searching through each individual adjustment layer, because there are going to be a lot of them. So you're going to want to search up transform in effects and presets, or you can right click, go to effect, and you can find it here. I have no idea where it is. Keying, probably, maybe. Oh, you know what? It's in it's in distort. So distort and then transform. But I normally just click on this and then double click, and now I have transform in the top here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my first keyframe, and I'm gonna keyframe the scale, right? And I'm gonna go forward one frame by pressing page down on your keyboard, and I'll go forward one frame, and I'm gonna set that to, I don't know, let's say 115. And then I'll make it go forward a little bit. So now that I have those keyframes down, I'm going to want to click on the transform layer, press U on my keyboard to bring up all my active keyframes. I'm going to highlight the keyframes that I've set on the marker. I'm going to hit Control C, and then I'm going to hit K, and Control V. And as you can see, if you press K twice, it'll be at the next marker. K will go to the next keyframe or marker. So if you have this, you want to hit K twice and Control V. K twice, Control V, K twice, Control V, and you just want to keep on doing this until you make it to the end of the intro. It's going to be pretty loud. Takes a while, you know, it depends on how much sync your intro has. Whoops. Messed up there. You can always Control V, or Control Z, or Z, depending on where you're from. I have no idea. You can Control Z to undo your previous action. And then I'm also going to want to go to the end just a little bit after that, and I'm going to want to make that 100. So now, if I play it back, not from current time, sorry, if I play it back, it'll pre-render again. And you can see that our basic keyframes, they are set. So when this is finished pre-rendering, what you do want to do is you want to check the accuracy of these, alright? When you make intros, you don't want to settle for mediocre. You want to do your personal best, and if your keyframes are 1 second behind, I know you can do better than that if you take a little more time to place them in. So yeah, that's another thing. You gotta be patient with this, because sometimes pretty good so far. Looks pretty good, so if I play it at full speed, so now you're going to want to create another new adjustment layer, and you're going to want to name this, I don't know, like Shake. And the plugins that you're going to need, this is a plugin that you're going to need. I will leave all the plugins that you need in the description. I know it's frustrating that I didn't say this before. Actually, you know what, I'll probably just put something before this section saying the plugins that you need are in the description. But the plugins that you're going to need are Sapphire, Sapphire 8 plugins. You're going to need the Red Giant Suite. You're going to need the Trapcode Suite, which involves Trapcode Form, Particular, Trapcode Shine, which I don't have for some reason. I don't know why. Red Giant's Magic Bullet Looks, Sapphire 8 plugins, and Video Copilot's Twitch. I think those are all the ones that we're going to be using for this, at least. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to go look up Shake, and this is assuming that you do have the Sapphire plugins. And you're going to need S-Shake, which is what makes your keyframes look powerful. I remember I was making intros for a month, and I really wanted to know how my favorite intro makers did it, and I tried using Wiggler. It looked pretty bad. This is what you need. So with this, what you're going to do is you're going to set keyframes just like you did with transform, but instead of the scale, you're going to keyframe the amplitude. So you might want to tone down your X-Shake a little bit. So maybe in between like 90 and like 100. So I'm going to just do that. Y-Shake, you want it somewhere in between 56 and 36. Like 60 and 30. So, I don't know. Yeah, that looks good. And so I'm actually going to change the tilt wave amplitude. This is how you get good tilt shake. I'll set that to like 2. And yeah, I keep the frequency at 8. I'll set the amplitude to, I don't know, somewhere in between 1 and 2. So, I don't know, happy medium 1.5, I guess. These aren't my exact settings because, you know, I want to keep my settings a secret. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing my exact settings. This is just to get you started. But yeah, so you're going to want to go to your marker before it goes forward. So you want to go to the first one. You're going to want to set the amplitude to 0, keyframe it, go forward 1 frame, set the amplitude, I don't know, like 1.5. Should look pretty good. And then you want to do the same thing with the keyframes again. I did that wrong. Crap. And then 1.5. Okay, Control-V. Alright. So yeah, I'm just going to go through and do all of this. It's really tedious. Alright, perfect. And then I'm also gonna want to go around to the end and then set that back to 0. So now when you look at it, you should see that it's looking pretty nice, actually. If you want to, if your name is Toot, by the way, as in tutorial, feel free to use this. I'm actually gonna turn down the X shake and the Y shake a little bit. I don't know, just to give it, I don't know, a little more of a better feel. I'm actually gonna set the frequency to 6. The way you learn is just mess around with these settings. That's all I do, is just mess around with them to find the best ones. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Sweet. So the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to make a new adjustment layer again. We're going to name it BG Shake. That's what I'm going to name it, because it's the background shake. Now, if you look in between these increments, it kind of just sits there. So you're going to want to put S shake on background shake again. And you want to set this to, I don't know, like anywhere from 2 to 3, so you're like 2.1. And then set the frequency to 1. And then turn down the X shake a lot. And then turn down the Y shake a lot. So around these, you don't have to use these exact settings. Again, you can mess around with whatever looks good. I think this, yeah, that looks good. You want to make it so nothing is ever standing still, because that just looks boring. You want to keep your intros exciting, but you don't want to go to the point where you can't read the text, because looks good. So for our final, I think, like sync effect, we're gonna put in Twitch, which is another plugin. Now, Twitch is made by Video Copilot. It's a really good plugin. It's amazing. You can do so many things in Twitch, so this should be like one of your top priorities. I was making intros without Sapphire for a while, so yeah. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set the speed. I like to set it to 4. Keep the amount at like 110. You want to enable slide. And you want to set the slide amount to 4 and the slide twitches per second to 3. Is what I normally do. And there's something cool that you can do if you want a RGB split, so like this to happen on each, like every time it syncs. If you want that to happen every time it syncs, it can look pretty cool if you use it correctly. So you can like turn it down if you want. I'm gonna put a little bit of that in this, so it'll kind of show up. I'm gonna set it to like 25. You don't have to. This is all personal preference, but yeah. So once you're finished in slide and operator controls, you want to keyframe the amount. Actually, I want to make that to 0. Go to the next frame forward, and you can make that 110 or whatever you want. So yeah, let's just do all the keyframes for this again. This can get pretty tedious, but the fun part is coming up soon. I mean, this isn't too bad. But this is what everyone does, and you have to do, so. Okay, 0. Now what you want to do, you can pre-render this again. It's looking pretty good, actually. I like it. It's not too much shake, and not too much twitch. I don't know, maybe a little bit there, but whatever. It's just because the text is far away. It's fine, we can, it won't look, I don't know. Trust me, it'll look good. Looks really good, actually. Oh, also, another thing I forgot to mention is these two settings down here. So this thing down here that says full, if you set that to quarter, this will render faster, like you can scrub through it. And this up here, resolution, this will probably be on full. You want to set that to quarter, because if you don't, it will, I mean, unless you're really patient, it will take ages. Like, I'm sure it'll take like half an hour just to pre-render when you have like all your effects in and everything. So yeah, make sure to set both of those to quarter. You don't have to necessarily set this to quarter, but when you get into big effects, I find myself just doing it automatically because it'll be annoying if you don't. So yeah, the next thing to do is you want to go make a new solid and name this particles. Yes, we're going to be making particles. So we are just going to oh, I'm sorry, no. You're going to want to look up in the Trapcode Suite, you're going to want to look up form, and it's going to be Trapcode form. This is another plugin that you're going to need. And now you can see that there's a few little squares over there, and it should move with the camera if you did this correctly. So you should have a camera when you open up the composition if you save the AEC file. That is what that is for. But yeah, so now that you have those, you want to go click on the particles, base form. I'm gonna make this, I don't know, something cool. What's something cool? But yeah, you don't really need to change that. I'm actually just gonna do like a form wall, a backing. No, I'll just do dispersed particles. So you're gonna want to set these out so that you can see them. They're like dispersed. You want to set the particles to, I don't know. I normally set them to 75, 75, and particles instead to 4. Okay, whatever. Particle size. Turn up the size. What the heck? Okay. I want to make that bigger. Actually, you know what? I'm going to set this to 20 and 20 just because of what I'm doing. So I'm going to set the size to like 10. Guess. Sphere feather, 100. Opacity random, 100. Size random, maybe like 50. I guess I can make those like 15. I don't know. This is all based on personal preference once again. This is actually a really good trick. I'm not going to be using color. I'm going to be going to quick maps. Go to color map. I'm going to drag this out a little bit. And you can select either one of these, but I'm going to make it, I don't know, because it's a blue intro. I don't know. Make that white, green, and blue. Actually, I'm just going to keep it like that, but you can click in here to add a new color. Oh, crap. And you can double click on one of these to change the color. So yeah, if I go to map opacity plus color over, set that to radial, see that I have multicolored particles in form. Yay! That looks cool. Next up is disperse and twist. I like to set the disperse for these ones to a lot, and the twist doesn't really matter. I mean, I doubt you can notice the twist. But just set this to something random. I don't know. I'm actually gonna change up these particles to like 30. Jeez. There we go. That looks good. That looks pretty cool. That looks weird because of the twitch, but that's just because it's the single frame. So if I render this out, it's looking pretty good. The particles, I like them. But yeah, you can always just mess around with settings again in form. But yeah, those are basic particles that are, I don't know, pretty helpful. Yeah, they look pretty good. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go, actually, we're gonna save. That's what we're gonna do. L2. Yeah, so we're gonna make a new solid. We're gonna name that Jaws. I know a lot of people use motion tile for this. I don't see the point. I don't think there's a difference. But I just use Jaws, CC Jaws. That's what you want to look up, and you want to make the completion, I don't know, like 75, I guess, height 0. And you can see like you have these black bars. Now it just makes it look more, I don't know, it looks better. So you also want to make another solid. I'm just going to name it Fade. And I'm going to press T on my keyboard to bring up opacity. I'm going to keyframe that, go a little bit forward, and set this to 0. So now it gives me a fade in, and I'll do that at the end too. So keyframe that, and then set this to 100. Sweet. Now, another thing we're going to do is we're going to make a new solid. Again, we're going to name it Smoke. And this is going to be our smoke. So, we're going to put that below our particles. Smoke. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to base form. Oh, wait, what? Oh, yeah, I'm in the middle. This is more form. I know. And, what? Oh, that's probably just some, oh, whoops. That's probably just some smoke preset. Sorry. Form. You want to go to form, not smoke, because you don't have that. I don't know, that's some old preset, maybe. I don't know. Now you want to go to particle. You want to set the size. I don't know. I'm going to set the size to 100. I'm going to go to base form. Stretch this out. I'm going to go to disperse and twist. Disperse it out a bunch. See the smoke. Alright. Disperse a little less, actually. So I have 4. And the Z is actually going to be a lot less. That is going to be like 200. But yeah, you want to make the opacity. You want to turn the opacity down to maybe like 2. Then turn the opacity random up, size random up. I mean, probably turn up the opacity to like 5. 10. I don't know, you can make these a lot bigger. And then turn down the opacity of that. And now you have smoke in the background, which looks pretty good. Now this will take a lot longer to pre-render, of course, because it is bigger. It's a lot bigger than than your particles, and there's also a lot more of it. So like the more generated mass you have, the longer it'll take to pre-render. But yeah, next thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna take a look at this smoke, see if it's any good. I'm not gonna pre-render it all the way. I'll wait till it gets to like 400 frames. Let's check that out. Looks pretty good. So one of the last things we're gonna do is we're gonna go to oh wait, no, I'm actually missing a few things, but we are going to make a new adjustment layer. We're going to put this above everything. We're going to name it Edge Rays. Now you can do whichever one you want. You can use Trapcode Shine, or you can use S Edge Rays. I use Edge Rays because I don't have Shine for some reason. Edge Rays. Now you can see that. I'll set the ray length the most it can be. Oh wait, actually, no. No, I was right. Never mind. You can set this to 0.5, which I like to do because this is a blue intro. I'll make this blue. And I will also make another adjustment layer and name this Glow. I'm going to look up Glow. It's S Glow. And I'm going to make this purple. I'm going to keyframe it at 1 brightness, go forward 1 frame. I'm going to make this like 2. I'm going to make it 3 actually. That'll look good. And then I'm going to keyframe this all the way through. You can see that you can't really see it move as fast, like it's kind of lagging a bit. That's because of I don't know, that's because of the pre-rendering is taking longer because of all the things that we have put in. Whoops. I'll go back here. Okay, I'm gonna set this to 0, and now that we have those in place, I'm just gonna hide the twitch and shake for a minute as I go into one of these keyframes and I create, well, I'm gonna save now. I'm gonna create a new adjustment layer. I'm gonna name it CC. And I'm gonna right click, go to Effect, Red Giant Color Suite, Magic Bullet Looks. Or you can just look up Magic Bullet Looks here. I don't know, either way, it still works. You want to double click, drag that onto the CC adjustment layer, and you want to click Edit. That should bring up this window here. This is where you make your intros look amazing. This is going to be the beautiful of the beautiful. So I'm going to create curves. Set the two up like this. You can just follow along. I'm not really going to explain. Pop. Turn that up a little bit, not to 100. It's really sensitive. I don't know why. 50. Alright. To 50. Go to matte. Light flex. At blue. Like a few light flexes, like a light blue. Turn down the boost. I'm going to make another light flex. Make it like pink. Turn down the boost, and then a final one, I'm going to make it green. Turn down the boost. I don't know, I just do this for blue. You can find what looks good. But, whoops. Sorry. I'm actually not on Do Not Disturb. But, yeah. Now you want to go to Diffusion. I'm going to make this blue. Turn the size down so you can just see it on the color, so you can see what diffusion does there. Turn it down. I'm going to make another diffusion. That looks good. I'm going to make that like purple or pink. And then the largest diffusion, I'm going to make it like that. I turn down the grade a little bit. I'm going to make it like greenish. On this, I'm also going to put in warm cool. Just want to make it so it's warm or cool. I'm going to make it a little cool, so a little bit cooler. Go to lens. I'm going to add a vignette, not a vignette. Edge softness. Turn that down a little bit. Haze flare. Turn the matte box size down, matte box shade down. Turn that up a bit. Turn down the spillage a little bit. Softness, turn it up a bit. Then I'm going to go to chromatic aberration. make that out a little bit. Oh, this looks nice. Swing tilt. This is gonna be the blur, like the depth of field in your intro. Turn that down a bit. Turn down a little bit more, actually. And then anamorphic flare. Turn the size down a little bit. Turn the boost down. Looks good. I'm gonna put in a 3-strip process. I don't know. I mess around with this. Sometimes I do 1. Sometimes I do -1. I think I'm gonna go with 1 for this. Actually, I'm gonna go with 2, just because. I'm gonna put in range saturation. I'll make it a little bit brighter. I'm gonna turn up the. I'm actually gonna turn down the highlight for this one. I don't know why. Turn down that one. Shadow. Turn down the shadow a little bit. Turn up the highlight actually on this one. Exposure compensation. I'm gonna turn that up to like, okay, 0.2. Looks good. And then I'm gonna put in color range. No, not colorista. Color ranges. Set that to yellow, blue green, or blue purple. I don't know. Pink maybe. I don't know. And then blue. I'm gonna set these lower so not as bright. And then I'm also gonna go and do S-curve. So S-curve makes it look a little good, little good. All right, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm also gonna add a little bit of contrast. Pivot down, more contrast. Less S-glow. So yeah, finished. You can really see the before and after. Looks a lot better. It's before, after, before, after. So we're gonna pre-render that. We're gonna see how it looks. Actually, before we do that, we're gonna save. Always save. After Effects is. I know I love After Effects, but it is not reliable enough. It will like. Oh, wait a minute. We forgot. I need to re-enable Twitch and Shake. Another thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go to Shake, Mo Blur Length, set that to 2, enable Motion Blur. Also gonna do that on the background shake. And what did I do? Oh, set that to 1. Set this to 2. All right. I'm also gonna make a new adjustment layer. Put it under the CC, but above everything. Name it RSMB. And you're also gonna need another plugin called RSMB. Real Smart Motion Blur. Not sure. It's RE Vision plugins. Real Smart Motion Blur. I'm gonna set that to 1. I set that to 1.5 maybe, and set this to 100. This just makes it look smooth. I know it doesn't look very good, but it will. Trust me. Trust in me. It will look good. Save always. But yeah, this is going to take a little longer. Actually, probably more than a little longer, just because of the sheer amount of effects that we have on this. But yeah. So we're just gonna wait for it to pre-render, and I'll get back to you guys when that's done. Okay, and it looks like it's just finishing up its pre-render here. Come on. And there, it's done. So now we're gonna take a look at this and see how it looks. It's actually looking pretty good. I think I did see a glitch in the RSMB. Somewhere in here. Change that to quarter. See what I mean? It's pretty useful. Right? There. What is that? Alright, that should look a little bit, I don't know. I guess I'm not going to use RSMB because there's a little glitch in it. You always want to do the best, but if you can't have it, that's why we have that backup S-Shake. But yeah, I think that's about it for this tutorial. Oh, and also, one more thing before I go that I stupidly forgot to mention. Is to render this out into an actual file, you want to go to File, Export, and Add to Render Queue, and then you'll have this thing pop up. You can click on that, tell you where to save it, and it should be an AVI. If you want to change it, you can go to the settings here. Actually, I don't know where you go. Okay, I forget. Frick. No, you're right. I always forget this guy. Okay, yeah. So you want to go to lossless, and you can go to format, and you can choose whatever you want, like Photoshop sequence, QuickTime, Radiant sequence, Targa sequence, MP3, JPEG sequence. I normally keep it AVI just because it's easy. And yeah, so that's it. All you have to do is click render once you've figured out where you want to save it to, and it should be done. So now I'm going to do my outro for the second time. My name is Tom Mar. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.